this trip for the first time in the Yorkshire Cup. It is sponsored by Boodles. It is the highlight of the day. Let's join Stuart Matron for the call.
All 5 of them in the stalls. They're ready. They're off. The Group 2 Boodles Yorkshire Cup. Sweet William, pink and white, briefly took a little stoking along just to gather his stride. It's a little bit of a saunter in truth through the first furlong. Continuous. Ryan Moore in front, but in no great haste, stalked by Will Buick aboard Rebels Romance. Sweet William has now picked up the bit and moves up into 3rd place. Tracking the leading trio at the end of a quarter of a mile is Epic Poet, and the grey Al-Sakib looks on from the final position, and Continuous is being allowed an uncontested lead as they move across the far side of the Naysmire at a very steady gallop. Continuous over Rebels Romance. Sweet William, the pink cap for Rab Havlin. Epic Poet, the shades of blue, Danny Tudhope in 4th. And the grey Al-Sakib under double chasing PJ McDonald last of the 5. And it's almost single file stuff as they now move beyond the Juddmonte International starting point and on towards the final 9 furlongs. So Continuous, Ryan Moore doing it pretty much on his own terms. Buick is slipstreaming him aboard Rebels Romance, the Godolphin Blue Silks. Epic Poet moving up on the far side of Sweet William, and Al-Sakib continues at the back end of the field. The final mile is in sight now, and Continuous going enthusiastically in the first time blinkers, has a lead of a little under 2 lengths to Rebels Romance, who in turn is tracked by Epic Poet and Sweet William covered up against the running rail. Al-Sakib last as they move through halfway in the Boodles Yorkshire Cup. In very little change in the order throughout. Continuous. Ryan Moore still with a pretty tight hold of his head. Rebels Romance slipstreaming. Sweet William on the near side of Epic Poet, and 2 lengths away to Al-Sakib. Moving into the turn inside the last 3/4 of a mile now, and Continuous has Rebels Romance at his quarters, and if anything that pace has just steadied still further. Heading to the crown of the bend in the last 5 furlongs in the Boodles Yorkshire Cup. Continuous Rebels Romance. Sweet William will turn on in a very close 3rd. And then Epic Poet in a light blue jacket, and Al-Sakib, although last of the 5, is only 3 lengths off the lead. They are just beginning to drift down the centre of the Naysmire on inside the last half mile. Continuous on the right. Buick is bringing Rebels Romance stand side of centre, stalked by Sweet William and Epic Poet. Right down the middle, the grey Al-Sakib is asked for an effort. So the 5 of them have fanned out much of the width of the track now as they move on down towards the last 2.5 furlongs. Continuous on the right, asked for more. Al-Sakib, the grey, closing in. On the left, Rebels Romance. Sweet William, the pink cap, ridden along with stamina assured. Epic Poet hard under the rail, on down towards the last furlong of the Yorkshire Cup. Rebels Romance into a narrow lead. Epic Poet and Sweet William are challenging Al-Sakib and Continuous. Rebels Romance inching home here. Epic Poet, though, challenging strongly down the near side. Rebels Romance all out in the Boodles Yorkshire Cup from Epic Poet. Sweet William, Continuous and Al-Sakib close up in a bunch finish.